Welcome, bitches. This is the With Love Nick podcast. There is nothing off limits here. Oh, get on your power panties. Shit, I always say that. How are we always aligned? You did not. Of course you did. Of fucking course you did. Success happens on the other side of conventional thinking. I say this all the time because when I was conventionally thinking, it left me burnt out and drunk. Welcome to this week's episode of the With Love Nick podcast. Welcome to this week's episode of With Love Nick. I'm your host, Nick BG. Today, I have Kati Elliott with me. We just had this really awesome conversation about how we look awesome and sexy in our content, and then we get on here and we're just like goofballs. So I'm really excited for this conversation. Kati is a business and marketing mentor who has strategically set up her business for her first $1 million year this year. And I want to talk about that a little bit. But first, I just want you to give yourself a little intro. I want you to talk about yourself in your voice. I would love to hear.
Oh, I would love to. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm Kati, and yeah, I am a business and marketing mentor for women entrepreneurs, but more specifically, women who move. Like, we move our ass. There's no excuses. We have this vision and we get after it. And so that truly is just the core of my brand, having such an amazing, wild, delusional vision that you're going to move every single day for it and go wild and get it. So that's where I'm at in my business. It hasn't always been this way. I'm sure we'll get into the whole
Yes.
story, but that's where we're at today, and we're just thriving.
I love that so much. I'm going to say that. I love that so much. It's like, if I don't agree with you, I will not say I love you or I love that so much. Just so you know, it's like, I just felt that when you said delusion, when we because it's so true how when we're unconventional and really not practical with our action, it's like delusional to some people, right? And we see that often when we evolve as leaders in the industry, when people kind of describe us as that, as like, oh, you're delusional, you're making stuff up, like this is falsification, all of this stuff. And so the fact that you said that word, I'm like, okay, we are on the fucking right track today, because delusion is my middle name. I love, love, love creating movement and taking action that just looks insane to other people, because it's like, okay, the women that are out there that just like, they want to get a little insane, they want to get a little unhinged, like it's almost like me handing out a permission slip, like that's okay to do that in whatever capacity that looks like for you. So I just wanted to go off on a riff of like, I love that word. It's like one of my favorite words. Like, unconventional is totally the way that I've built my business and my brand. So kudos to you. I'm really dying to know. I'm really dying to ask this. I know you said you're like, I am
know.
a
Bring
responder.
it.
So here we go. The first thing that I want to ask you, because and I'm sure a lot of my listeners will want to know too, what does victim mentality mean to you? And how have you positioned yourself to not attract women in this mindset?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I already love your first question. Okay. So, just for context around this, we've all been through hell and back in our lives. Like, and to some degree, everyone who has been through their own personal hell and come out of it. And maybe we'll go through a few more hells in life, who knows? But we've all been in the dip, right? And I know that for me, that looked like getting married very young. I got married when I was 20 years old. I had a baby by the age of 21. I went through a brutal divorce, custody battles. My whole 20s was just like a shit show. And I come out of it on the other side, I guess you can say, just never once with like poor me,
Mm.
always with how do we get out of here? Like, how do we get the
Oh
fuck
my
out?
gosh.
It's nasty, like, ugh, like that's an extreme example. But when I think of victim mentality, it's always like, if I don't like this, how do I get the fuck out? Like, well, where do we go to the next place that feels good? Not this is happening to me, this sucks, this hurts, this person did that. Like,
Mm.
do I still have those thoughts? Sure, but they're definitely not coming out of my mouth and they're definitely not guiding my next move. So I think
Yes.
that women who decide instead of, oh, this is happening to me, and I just like, oh, like I hate when people say, and my clients know this too, but I hate when people say like, oh, like I'm a hot mess, or like I'm my brain is like so scrambled, and it's like, cool, you can feel like that, but let's also be like a hot mess and let's get the fuck out.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, I have an open throat chakra. So I'm like, I'm trying not to like, I'm trying to hold it back. And I'm like, okay, I love this so much. And I actually did not know that we were going to connect on such a deep fucking level. So this is going to come with a twist, but I too was married at the same age and had a baby by the same age
Oh
and
my God.
went through this like not necessarily a messy divorce, but like since then it's been a shit show. It's like, oh my gosh, like I do not want to rush her time, but she's going to be 15 this year and I cannot wait till she's 18 and I just never have to like deal with this again, right? But it's like from the ripe age, I have been putting myself in these circumstances, right?
Yes.
But always with the mindset of like, I am the problem, but I am also the solution here. Like, I can't believe that we clicked on that level, but it's like my 20s was a shit show. I was just saying, and I was crying about it the other night because I kind of got met with a shadow that I had to deal with that I thought I dealt with. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But
Mhm.
I'm like, I spent the majority of my young adult life putting myself constantly in these situations.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but though, I had the self-awareness to take responsibility and be like, okay, what's next? Like, let's go there. So
Mhm.
the fact that you just like said all that, I was like getting chills and I was like, I need to talk about it. I know I was like, me too here. Hi, it's me. But
Oh my
tell
God.
me, tell me a little bit about when you were in that circumstance and then it was like thing after thing after thing after thing. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, like I said before, a lot of my listeners will want to know too, because we have, regardless of whether we like the like the victim mindset or hate the victim mindset, it's like we've all been in the victim mindset. So when these key things kept stacking, like how in the fuck did you reframe to be like, okay, what's next? Let's go there, instead of sinking down into that dark, destructive path of
Yeah.
like, poor me, poor me, poor me, because it's so easy to go there.
Yeah, I think that, gosh, this is so crazy. Like my son is going to be 15 this year and I'm in the same boat. I'm like, teenagers are the effing worst. Like
Oh
I
my
love
God,
you
no.
so much, but stop.
I'm like, sorry, mom and dad. I'm so sorry.
Literally, it's the worst. It's the best worst. But yeah, it's I think it's part one, because I went through so much in my 20s. It's just I have it embodied, and I didn't even know that I did, right? Like when people would say, "Oh, like you're so strong," or "Oh, you never complain," or "No," and whatever. I'm like, "Yeah." Like, okay.
And
Whatever.
that's just casual.
Not a compliment to me. And I think a big turning point was, so not only do I have trauma from my divorce, I also have trauma from corporate, right? Like working in a corporate setting, I worked at a large regional bank for 12 years. I grew up there. I started there when I was 18. I got fired when I was 30, or just about to turn 31. And it, I you don't even have the awareness when you're in that environment of like, you actually don't have to stay in a place, like a
Mm.
mindset, a physical place, a working environment where people are keeping you small. You actually have all the power in the world to be like, I don't like these circumstances and I'm going to get out. But it's so scary because going off on your own is like the
Yeah.
most terrifying thing. Fortunately, I was pushed off a cliff and fired because I chose to create my own business, and that was like
Yeah.
a blessing. But I think just even becoming an entrepreneur, you really make this like invisible agreement to not be a victim,
Oh
because
my
there's no
gosh.
successful entrepreneur that has that. And I'm not articulating it very well, but it's just like, it's not so much like, oh, I can't think this way anymore. It's just like every little thing that you overcome or big thing you overcome, it's like that's just who you are now. And that's just what we do,
Yeah.
right?
I just like I relate to this so much. So much relation. I'm like so many things are going through my head right now. Literally my throat is like on fire. I'm not even lying. I'm like I just I'm resonating with this and I want to speak on so much of it because there is that like I feel like when we have this specific mindset, especially, it's like we want somebody to push us off a cliff because
Mhm.
we work better under that pressure or we
Yeah.
work better with that being our circumstance and not like that there is that fear, especially when it's something that we're so used to or something that we don't know anything other than that. It's like, well, this was used to create success in my life. So like, why would how can I even go somewhere else? Like, I can't even fathom of going somewhere else. But then once we've been there, once we've moved through that limitation, once we've moved through that fear, then it becomes like, okay, I want to do that again. Like, I want to do
Yeah.
that again and I want to do that again. And so like, I love also that you spoke on these things being a trauma, but still being able to move forward without that like becoming your identity. So I want to know a little bit about where or when that transition from going to from corporate or even like moving past like the messy divorce and everything and having all of those things that kind of like weighed you down mentally a little bit, moving into your business, how do you feel that your business allowed you to open your heart and your mind more to being to becoming even stronger, right? Because even touching on that, like when we get those compliments, like you're so strong, and you're like, I don't even know how I fucking did it. Like this is just what happened. This is me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, we're still human, and traumas do bog us down. So when you moved into your business, how do you feel that opened your heart and mind into just expanding more into your power when it comes to continuing to compound on that strength?
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget the day where I did get, so when my boss found out I started my own coaching business, he emailed me and he's like, "We need to have a talk." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he drove up to my office and he fired me on the spot. And I
What?
remember, yeah, he had like little man syndrome. I remember.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I had been there for 12 years. I was an incredible employee, like never any problem. And we were unfortunately going through like merger after merger after merger. And I worked in HR. So I saw everyone getting laid off. I saw everything that was going down behind the scenes. And I was like, mm-mm, not me. I'm a single mom. I have a mortgage. I will not like be put in a position. Again, another example of like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, you fired me." Like, what do I do?
Absolutely.
I'm like, I'm going to do something about it. And, and so I decided to start my own coaching business after somebody had reached out to me. She was my very first coach. And she was like, "Hey, I saw you complaining about your job in a Facebook group or something." She's like, "It seems like you're not very happy." I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "I can help you." I'm like, "Take all the money I don't have." And anyway, I just saw what she was doing. I'm like, this is incredible. Like you're serving people, you're making money, you're living life on your terms. This is what I want. I don't know what it's gonna
Mm.
look like, but this is what I want. I know that for sure. I want that feeling. And so I remember posting about it on my Facebook profile. And apparently like everyone at work was in an uproar, like Katie's starting her own business and da da da. A great example of victim mindset. 13 people apparently were crying in his office because I was going off and doing my own thing, which had nothing to do with work.
What?
And he's like, "We can't have that." I'm like, "Okay." So yeah, he drove up, fired me, and Nick, like it was the most empowering day of my life out of all the other weird
Oh,
shit
that just gave me chills.
because I sat there and he's like we can't have this and we're gonna have to like part ways. And the only word I said in that 30-minute meeting was, "Okay,
Oh my
okay."
gosh, that like literally brought tears to my eyes.
It does me too every time I think about it, because I just, my whole, your body always knows first, right? And my whole body knew, like, don't react, don't get upset. You're gonna do wonders, like it's fine. So I'm just like, okay. And he's like, don't you want to know why I'm firing you? I'm like, no. Like, this is
Oh
fine.
my gosh.
And I remember on my last, and I stayed there for a couple weeks to take care of some of the projects that only I could do, because that's just who I am. And well, I remember on my last day, I walked out and it was really close to my birthday. It was an August day. And I had like my literal banker's box full of my shit. And I remember like looking up at the sky. It was bright blue, no clouds, the most beautiful Michigan summer day. And I literally just remember feeling like I can do whatever the fuck I want now. Like I have the entire world. My world went from this to like so huge. And I
I'm
was
like
just,
literally crying right now. This
oh,
is like incredible. Like, oh my gosh.
it really was. And my I called my best friend and she's like, I'm leaving work. And we sat on the patio and we had some cocktails and some snacks and we listened to music and we just talked about like how crazy life is and that this was like the wildest thing, but it's gonna be the best thing. And so since that day, it's just like every day in my business, it's like this is such a gift. And even in the really hard, shitty days, like 2 days ago, I was literally like trembling with anxiety, bawling my eyes out because this shit's hard too. But every single day is just like an opportunity to just like not only recognize what you have, but also continue to, like you said, like strengthen that. Like I'm here for a reason. And I think what we do as like people who serve is it's just a given. Like you're just going to get stronger and stronger, or else you'll
Yeah.
never be able to pour into other people. So I don't
Wow.
know if I answered your question, but it was a story.
Like you answered all my questions. That's it.
We're done. Bye.
Oh my gosh. That is just so empowering. You did such a beautiful job, like articulating exactly what that looked like and felt like. And I'm sure so many women are going to be able to resonate with that because it's like, I talk about this often because I feel like there's this misconception that everybody can do what we do, right? It's like, oh, I want to start my own coaching business, or I want to start my own service or I want to be in network marketing. Anybody can do this. And it's just not the case. And I feel like you are such a prime example of what it takes to be successful in life and building a business, especially a service-based business where we are serving people. Like that is our job, right? And so many people make a mockery of this industry, like anybody can do it. And it's like that takes away from the exclusivity, that takes away from what makes it special. And I truly do not believe that everybody can do what we do. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was when you said, I didn't want to know why. I said one word during that entire thing, and it was the most empowering moment of my life. And I was like,
I'm
oh,
gonna you retell my story.
like I am so good at mirroring things. People tell me that all the time, but it's like it, that just like sunk into like the very depths of my belly. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is it. You are such a prime example of why not everybody can do what we do because it truly takes tapping not only tapping into the deeper parts of ourselves once, but being able to do that in infinite times throughout our life. It takes being able to do that regardless, right? And I hear this a lot in our industry as well, is like doing whatever it takes and the all in. And that doesn't mean just going, staying consistent, doing all the things, whatever it takes. Fuck your family, fuck your
Yeah.
whatever else you're doing, like whatever you got to do to get there. And it's like, actually, it's like being able to peel back every single layer of ourselves and being fulfilled in what we find, regardless of what that is truly what it means to be able to have to rebuild that and have the skin
Mhm.
that it takes to be all in this industry. And I just like, I did not expect this type of conversation. Like I knew we were going to get into some bomb conversation and I knew that we were going to talk about like badass bitch stuff, but this is like, I am so glad that we got into this. And I want to know when somebody is And because this is just more advice for people that are going to be listening who are really resonating with your story right now. When somebody is starting out and they don't have what it takes right now, but they will have what it takes,
Mhm.
what advice would you give them in order to keep going through like that first 6 months, first year when things are like really, really emotionally hard? They're maybe going into some debt, they're having financial struggles, they're struggling being able to hold the space for themselves and lead themselves and um maybe have made some bad investments in the beginning and doing all the things that we all do as business owners, but like what advice would you give them in terms of self-empowerment and self-leadership?
Yeah, yeah, I love this question. So, the first thing is mentorship. Like, we preach mentorship because it's fucking real. Like, you cannot do this alone. We were not meant to do this alone.
I say
And
that all the time.
literally, like twinning. And you, I've had a mentor since day one, except for the year that another time my life fell to pieces, and that was the worst year of my business, one of the worst years in my life, my adult life, because I didn't have a mentor. And a mentor to me means so many things. It means guidance from somebody who's been there. It means someone who can remind you of who you are. It means that it's someone who, yes, you can like bring your troubles to and your mindset stuff and your feels and all that, but even just knowing like that support is there for you is so critical. It's like when I used to be super anxious after my divorce all the time, I dealt with such bad anxiety, like crippling, like going to the emergency room anxiety. But if I had one Xanax in a bottle and I just knew it was there. I literally had one Xanax in a bottle for like 2 years. I never took it, but I knew it was there. And it just calmed everything because I knew no matter what, even if I freak the fuck out, I'm gonna be okay. But it's like it's just that constant, I got your back. That is number one. Like always,
Yeah.
always being with a mentor, but not just any mentor, like finding the one who can really remind you who the F you are. That's the most important part. The second thing is you're going to have to learn self-trust, and it's a non-negotiable. Like you're going to have to just learn self-trust, and sometimes that looks like having to breathe through every moment. Sometimes that looks like letting yourself bawl your eyes out and then looking in the mirror and being like, "Okay, like I got you. You're good." And when people used to say like trust the process, that never resonated with me because I was like, I don't know what the process is. Like, I don't know what it's
Yeah.
going to do, but I know who I am and I know I can trust myself because I pulled myself out of some shit since I was 15 years old, and I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still living a good life. So I can trust myself. So those are two giant things that it's hard to hear when you're new. It's hard to hear like go get a mentor, trust yourself, but it's truly that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I really like that you compared the mentorship to the Xanax because
It is sometimes
because
though.
I just like it's so true. It's so true. And every single one of my mentors will tell you that like when I started with them, the first thing that I say is like, wow, just having you here, I had a $20,000 day. Wow, just having you here is like knowing knowing that I have that type of support, right? Knowing that I have a multi-millionaire in my back pocket is just like, okay, I literally have the space to do any fucking thing that I want. No
Yeah.
matter how delusional it is, no matter how insane it is, no matter how crazy we get, no matter like, you know what I mean? It's like, let's sculpt a rock and call it a planet. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what delusion I'm having, I know that someone who has had those same thoughts has my fucking back. And that is where I've created the most success. And I will tell you, it hasn't been a framework, it hasn't been a strategy. I can develop all of those on my own. And to be completely honest with you, I truly believe that, I mean, there's millions of strategies out there that work, right? But it's like the self-exploration and the trial and error is what is where you're going to find your best strategies. Like you cannot find your best strategies in somebody else. Like you just cannot. You can have a baseline, you can have the guide, you can have all of that. You can help, they can help you navigate your feelings as you're trial and erroring and it doesn't work the first time and holding space for you. But it's like the biggest months of my life when I'm generating 100K months, that did not come from a framework. That came from the mentor that was in my back pocket going, boop,
Yeah.
I got you. Boop, I got you. And it was like sometimes I didn't even have to lean in. I just heard her voice in the back of my head, like, I'm here when this crashes and burns, and you need me to walk you through it. Because you know what it does? Like failure is inevitable, right? But that's where we evolve. So I love that you said, like, well, I had the Xanax and I never took it. And that's another thing is like I will never feel like I have to utilize my mentorship space unless I feel like I need to. There's not a thought that crosses my mind anymore where I'm like, well, I paid for this, so I got to check in, or I got to pay for this, or I need to go watch all of her trainings. It's like my time is sacred, and I don't want to consume things that aren't going to serve me or put myself in a room to just talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that you said that, and the
Yeah.
self-trust thing is like I'm sure that you feel the same way because we're like twins. I almost don't even want to know like your birthday or your son's birthday because it's probably like the same as mine. But okay, but what are they though?
25. When is your birthday?
My birthday is October 29th.
Okay. Mine is August 22nd.
Okay, when's your son's birthday?
August 13th.
Okay, never mind. My daughter's birthday is November 19th. Okay, cool. All right, we got that out of the way.
We're still twins. Don't
I know
worry.
we are so twinning. But it's like the self-trust thing, and it is hard to hear because it's like, fuck you, what's the strategy? How can I make money? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
totally get it.
Mhm.
But the people who make it in this industry and the people who are made for this industry and the people who, I mean, those are the people who eventually they're going to be like, fine, let's try the self-trust thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's what I call an all-inner. That's what I call a whatever it takes her. It's like, okay, well, you stand over there, you have your pity party for a little bit, and you come back when you're ready to trust yourself. Because it's like once we move through that like first time that we know we should trust ourselves, but we like feel the resistance, right? And then we move through it and now, fuck yes.
Yes.
Nick, that was amazing. Let's go do it again. It's like when we invest really big for the first time and we're like, where's the refund policy? Like, what did I
Literally.
just do? But then it's like, then it becomes fun. And then it's like, okay, where can I invest next? Where can I invest next? Where can I invest next? I mean, even the bad investments, I have learned so much about my own leadership making these investments. And it's just so necessary. And like any millionaire will tell you that. Like I am just saying to the listeners, and I'm sure Katie agrees with me. She set herself up for $1 million year, but it's like mentorship is what will mentorship is the secret. It's the only way you can collapse time. We cannot collapse time with our own thoughts, right? It's like,
100%. Yeah.
like
Favorite thing to spend money on.
yeah, everybody wants the secret, but then when you give them the secret, they're like,
Oh.
that's not the secret I wanted, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you in a couple months back in my DMs. You know what I mean? Like I'll see you there. But
True.
okay, like I love that. I still have like a couple of questions that I want to really ask you because I know that my listeners are going to be intrigued.
Let's do it.
When did you see your business really start to scale? Like, I know that you've grown your business and I know that you've done all the nitty gritty and all of that, but when did you really start to notice that your business was scaling and you were like, okay, this is like sustainable. We're going now. This is the momentum. Like, what were you implementing? What did that look like for you? Like, how was your mental state? Like, where were you at?
Oh my gosh, I love this question and I love my answer because it's not the like, oh, I started and I started making $500 months, then 1,000, then 10, then 20, then no. I scaled my business to $400,000 in 2 years from scratch after I got fired, not knowing shit about what I was doing. And that was back in 20, like I started in 2019, end of 2019. 2020, 2021 were like the glory days. Like back then, it was like show up, sell 8 million courses, run 5,000 programs, have the coolest branding, be pretty on the internet, like go just be whatever, go do whatever. And you're gonna
Yes.
make so much money. And I did. And I wasn't being careless or unintentional or thoughtless. What I was doing was taking everything I knew, everything I like talking about, everything somebody asked me for, everything my audience says, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I'm like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do all of that.
Mhm.
I was literally a mindset coach, a manifestation coach. I got into astrology. I did like,
We all had our astrology days.
oh my God. Like I look at some of my content from back then, I'm like, it's like how to have your best cash month ever as a Taurus. I'm like, shut the fuck, you're so cringe. Like, what is wrong with you? Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
I was like rolling. I was like, this is so fun. And you know, it was great. And I had a,
I
a
should
come up
see.
during the pandemic. I was like,
As
I
a Taurus, like I cannot get over that.
seriously, like it's so dumb. Uh,
Ugh.
but it was fun and people had fun and people paid and I helped a lot of people. And I was also dealing with people that, you know, my messaging was so like convoluted, not convoluted. It was just so like I wasn't really good at my messaging yet. I was a great writer. I've always been a great writer, but I was talking to the wrong person. And
Yeah.
so I started attracting a lot of people that like had severe trauma, wanted help repairing relationships with family members, all this. And I realized, like, ooh, like that's not where I want to hang out. I've been through all those things, but that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I watched my business blow up in the first 2 years doing those things. And then in 2022, um, my personal life blew up again when my son's father decided to leave the country indefinitely. So we shared my son 50-50 his like since he was 2 years old. So I've been a part-time single mom for all those years. Now he's 14. And he left. And all of a sudden, I was full-time single mom, fully responsible, like in which I loved having him with me all the time, but also as a shock to the system. And it's like, wow, it really, really is all on me now. Like huge weight. So I got super depressed, super anxious,
Mhm.
and my business just started crumbling. It was, I did not have the capacity to show up for it. Plus, what I was doing, how I was growing it was not sustainable. It was not scalable. You can't grow a thriving business doing 8 million different things. That's just not how it works. So it just started to tank and it was the worst, like hardest year. And I remember at the end of 2022, and I made a lot of stupid investments, like not stupid, but just shitty investments, like spending thousands and thousands on coaches that like didn't give a shit about me. They weren't what I needed. It just wasn't it. It was a bad year all around. It was a learning year. But at the end of that year, I said, 2023 is not going to be this. Like, I'm
Yeah.
getting intentional. I'm slowing down. I'm taking my time. I'm asking for help where I need it. I'm going to find the right person to work with. And I'm going to slow down to speed up. And that's what I did. And so 2023 was the year of deciding exactly who I'm serving, exactly how. So I'm a marketing girl through and through. It's my formal education. It's what I've always been good at. Like I'm a marketing, like messaging content, like a visibility girl. And that's what I love to do. And that's what I'm good at. So I decided like, okay, this is how you're going to help women scale their businesses.
Mm.
So I decided I'm having like a core offer suite. I'm not selling a new program every fucking month. And I developed my membership and then my group coaching program. And I was really intentional about how the client goes through the journey through all of those programs. And then, I have a higher ticket program too. And slowing down like that is when I started seeing like this not slow, but like quiet buildup. It was like
Slower. Yeah.
rumbling, like, ooh, like something good is happening.
Yes.
And I got really real with myself about how I was showing up, like right down to my branding. Like if you go scroll my Instagram, you can see the cutoff of like pink pretty princess to like this is actually this is Katie.
Yep.
And that is something else. I had so many people reach out and be like, I've been waiting for this moment. I'm like, then why don't you tell me? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. Hi.
And- yeah. And so like in full transparency, it was last year. I've been at this for almost 5 years now. And it was last year when I finally felt like, okay, this is it. This is like, this is how we ascend. This is how we move. This is what I'm about. And this is it. And it has been. So
Wow.
unconventional
It's
business story is
so
real.
much juice. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like, I resonate with that so much because I have been in the industry for 14 years. And the majority of the time when I was rebuilding my businesses or my business or starting from scratch and doing all this, I mean, I went through all of those phases. I have also had like a million niches or a million. I'm just like, I'm here for it all. Whoever wants to pay me money, I will
Yeah.
literally take your feet pictures, whatever you want to do. Right. But it's like, and the insight that a lot of people don't want to hear is slowing down to speed up. And it's like when we can lean back in our business and really tap into what the fuck we desire for the rest of our life, that is when it's like when you described that feeling of it was like it was slower and it was like that buildup of something big happening. It's like that is the most genuine, authentic momentum happening behind the scenes to a sustainable business. Sustainability does not happen overnight. It doesn't happen by hustling. It doesn't happen by putting a bunch of shit out there. Yes, that is a great way to start a business and really figure out what you want to do. Absolutely. I would recommend the hustle for the first year of your business any day of the week. It's like figure out what you want to do the fastest way possible, but then lean back, soak it all in, get rid of what doesn't work, compound on what does work, and just be patient with yourself. Like I love the way you describe that. It was like you're so great at articulating things like so beautifully. It's like I'm sitting there going la 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 like just like watching you talk like it's like watching myself speak and I just love that so much. And I like just this whole conversation, I loved getting to know you on a deeper level. I love getting to like tap into your heart and your soul and your mind behind the business because I just feel like that's so important. And this is like, I'm so activated by this. And I'm like
I know.
leading a Q&A after this for my
Oh,
current
good.
job. And I was like, I'm going to hop in there and be like, let's fucking go. Like I just talked to Katie Elliott, bitches. Like, let's go. Uh, I,
Oh, thank
I'm just
you.
enjoying this so much. Like I almost don't want to stop
I
but we
know.
have to. So we're going to have to do a part two. But like, if there is anything that you would have done differently, transitioning from like the baby Katie to the fully mature, ready to fucking go and build $1 million business, Katie, is there anything that you would have done differently or any insight that you can give on bridging that gap between who you were and who you desired to be?
Yeah. Um, One thing that you just said that really reminded me of the answer to this question actually is when you are building a business for real, you're all in. This is long haul because a lot of people aren't and they think they are. But if you're all in and you're ready to transition from, oh my God, how do I make a sale? How am I going to make money this month? Like what's going on, da da da, to like, I was watching Love is Blind the other day and I had a 13K sales night, like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Transitioning from that, have you have to not depend on your business and make your business responsible for solving all of your problems, your financial problems, your emotional problems,
Mm,
your shadows and inner work shit. Like your business is a business. And yes, it's like an extension of you and we get to like be our business too. But you have to start treating your business like one. And one thing that I would have changed if I could have gone back is, in those moments of like, I'm running out of money or like money, 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 that's usually the thing that we get so worked up about. It's okay, then go find it somewhere else. Go be supported by something else. You don't have to go get another job, but like if you literally can't pay your bills and you're just trying to sell for the sake of like being able to live your life, you're
mm,
doing your business such a disservice and you're stunting your growth. So I wish I would have like, in those days where I was just sinking, like just go ask for help, like go
yeah.
get an effing loan if you need to, like go just find a different way to support you so that when you do go work on your business, it's not like, oh, I resent you for not making enough money this month,
Yes.
whatever. That's the biggest thing I wish I would have done.
Wow. I love that. I love that so much.
I love
See, I resonate. I love it so much. Oh my God. Snaps for Katie.
it. So good.
So good. It is so good. I want to keep going. Okay. How wow, I'm so activated right now. I'm also a generator with ADHD. So I'm like, I'm going to write some content.
Oh
So
my God. I was literally thinking that I have ADHD. I'm a manifesting generator, but I was like, this whole episode is content. I can't wait to re-listen to it and be like,
I'm going to create a bunch of content for you from this too. So I'm really excited. I want to know, and I'm sure my listeners want to know, how can they work with you right now?
Yeah. Two ways to work with me right now. One is to come inside my social house membership. It's a social media marketing membership. It's the most fun thing. This is where you go to build your social media foundations. How do you post? How do you do the messaging? How does it look good? How do you start to grow a community from the way you're showing up online? Social house membership is really fun. And then also my group coaching program. I'm like all the energy coming
My
out of me.
group coach, Graham. Yes.
My group coaching. It's called Move, and this is where you come when you're ready to go balls to the wall and you're all in. You're ready to transition from baby coach to like bad bitch business owner. The ladies inside there just every single day, even when I'm not in there, they're like, let's freaking go, and they're thriving. So
I
those
love
are the
that.
two big things I have that I love so much.
Perfect. There is nothing better than like coming back after a weekend and the women have been working inside your program.
Oh,
I'm like,
I
I'm
love
like, okay, give me an hour to catch up here.
it.
But like, yes, I love this. This is so incredible. Thank you so much for joining me. I
You
cannot wait to do a part two because I have so many things I still want to ask you.
Yes.
Thank you to all who tuned in. Join me on the next episode as I chat with Irene Veronica with Love, Nick, and Katie.